One of the best things about farming in Mississippi is that we can grow all kinds of forage crops for our livestock and cover crops to promote our soil health throughout the winters. Our winters are mild, and while they get cold to us, they're not as cold as other parts of the country. However, December 22nd, we had a cold front come through, and the temperatures got down to 7 degrees Fahrenheit. That is cold, cold for us here in Mississippi. Now, other parts of the country, it was much, much colder. But because we rely on these cool season cover crops and these cool season forages for our farming, the question that I asked and that many other people have asked is, how did our cover crops, forage crops, and row crops survive the cold weather? Everything from our wheat, ryegrass, and clover was incredibly dead. It was dry, it was brown, and it was laying on the ground. Now it's January 5th, about 2 or 3 weeks later. Let's take a look at what it's doing. We're going to start off taking a look at wheat. I'm colorblind, and so the small stems of ryegrass, I do not see the distinction in the colors of the individual stems very well. So we'll start off with wheat, and then we'll move on and try to take a look at some fescue and clover and some other forages as well. So because we just fed our pigs with the wheat that we had grown this winter, we're going to take a look at one of our local farmers' fields. He gave me permission to video it. Now, all of these fields are completely brown, and if you look carefully, you can see some of the brown leaves in this winter wheat, and it started growing back. Now, the farmer requested not to be actually in the video, but what he said is the growing point, which is right about here somewhere where my fingertip is, did not freeze. And so it's been 2 weeks later. We've had about a week and a half of warmer weather. Today it's in the 60s, and now it's growing green shoots 3 inches tall or taller from the growing point. And the farmer told me that a lot of times what happens is, as long as the wheat is short when it freezes, it'll grow back. However, if the wheat were a foot or a foot and a half tall, it probably would not have grown back. But this wheat grew back, and you can see that this entire field of wheat has grown back green in just the last week with this warmer weather that we've had. Let's go see if we can take a look at some of our fescue and what it's doing. Now, I'm out in the middle of one of our pastures. This is what we call the red field. It's got a good stand of fescue and clover, and it looks like, just if you glance out across, all I see is brown. Now, I don't distinguish between greens and browns very well. However, when you look closer and you actually zoom in on some of the growing points in the grass, you can begin to see green sprigs coming up. Now, I believe that's fescue, and it'll grow a little bit more. We don't get a whole lot of fescue growth in December. It grows a little more slowly than the wheats, but it normally springs up dramatically in March and April especially. If you look over here in some areas where we fed hay and it was a little more brown, you can see that it's turning green a little bit faster. And you can also see here, like that clover is just starting to come back out as well. You can see that a lot of green forages are now coming back out and growing with this warmer weather. Another important forage for us is dock. I think this is curly dock, though it may be yellow dock. But dock is a high protein feed. It tends to be bitter, so the cows and the pigs don't eat a whole lot of it, but it does provide some additional protein, and most importantly, it's a nutrient accumulator. It has real deep taproot, and so the livestock will eat it just because it has a lot of minerals that they do not get from grasses. But you can see where the leaves from the dock died, and then where it's regrowing out of this colder weather. This soybean field next to our farm normally has a world of a lot of henbit. Honeybees do work the henbit. It doesn't get a whole lot of credit, but the honeybees will work the henbit along with dandelion. And there is a wild geranium or something of those sorts in this field, the henbit may regrow. It looks like it's regrowing in another area, but our honeybees will not have quite as much forage to survive through the colder weather. Cold weather forage really doesn't do a whole lot for the honeybees. For the most part, they just get a little bit of supplemental nutrition on warmer days like today. But because it's not flowering and because the dandelion is not flowering, they won't have quite as much forage. Ironically enough, I just published a video showing on YouTube showing how we're regenerating this field and another one. It's some of our worst performing fields on the farm. And it took me 3 weeks of recording and editing and re-recording and re-editing to get the video where I wanted it. But the funny thing about it is this ryegrass here went from being about 6 or 8 inches tall and green to being brown and laying down on the ground to regrowing and having short stems growing. If you look and zoom in more carefully, you can see some of this, like that right there. You can see the ryegrass, and that thin stem against my finger is brown ryegrass where it died, and this is where it's regrowing. That right there is clover that's regrowing. There's more clover right there, and then there's some more of that wild geranium or something. I don't know what that is. It doesn't have a whole lot of feed value for livestock. Just because your cool season forages freeze and die doesn't mean they won't regrow. I'm Rob from Dowdle Family Farms signing off. Hope you enjoyed this video. Comment in the video and let me know what the cold weather did on your farm, especially if you live in a warm climate and you've had cold weather. I'm really interested to know what brassicas did in this colder weather. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, make sure you click the bell so that you get the notifications. Thanks for watching, take care, share this video with others that may find it useful. Have a great day.